So what if finding the one wasn't about luck, but about calculation? I want you to imagine a culture where your destiny, your love life, is all laid out in a sacred formula. A place where you can actually solve for the probability of love. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the Arreqqana and their absolutely incredible, logic-driven system for courtship. Now, that sounds poetic, right? But this isn't just a nice saying. It's the guiding principle of their courtship probability scroll, and it hints at a world where these big cosmic forces and pure mathematics, well, they're not just related, they're completely tangled up together, shaping the very fabric of their society. So what exactly is this scroll? Okay, picture this. A beautiful document made of deep indigo parchment. And the writing on it, it's this intricate calligraphy that literally shimmers in silver ink. This is the courtship probability scroll. And in Arreqqana society, it's a revered artifact that holds immense power, especially for the noble families. At its core, the scroll's whole purpose is to figure out if a couple is compatible, and it does that using a sacred equation. But it's so much more than a simple guide. For the matchmakers, it's their #1 tool. For families, it's their roadmap. And for the young couples themselves, well, it's the final, undeniable word on whether their love is actually blessed by fate. All right, let's get to the heart of it. At the center of the scroll is something called the equation of aligned threads. Now, this is not your high school algebra. No way. It's this sophisticated mix of social metrics, emotional connection, and, this is the really cool part, a touch of cosmic intervention. Let's take a closer look. So at first glance, this looks incredibly complicated, right? And honestly, that's part of its power, its mystique. Every single symbol you're seeing here stands for a critical piece of a potential relationship, and they all get funneled down to produce one single definitive score, X. Okay, so let's break these variables down. They're basically split into 3 groups. First up, you've got the societal factors: blood distance, dialect harmony, and social class. You know, the practical stuff that makes for a stable union in their world. Then you get the really interesting ones, the soulmate factors: thread alignment, flame synergy, and emotional reciprocity. This is the real heart of the connection. And finally, you've got L, the lunar blessing, which is a total cosmic wildcard. It can make or break a match. And this symbol, the Rosvein, this might be the most mystical part of the whole thing. It represents the exact moment the calculation goes beyond just being numbers on a page. Applying the Rosvein is a ceremony. It means you're accepting the final answer not as data, but as a fated resonance. It's the literal point where math becomes destiny. But, not everyone is so totally reverent about it. This quote from a young noble named Jarwano just perfectly captures that more modern, kind of cynical take. It's a great reminder that even in a world run by sacred math, there's always a little room for some good old-fashioned skepticism. So how does this all work in practice? Well, it's a very deliberate 4-step process. First, you calculate the societal match score. That gives you the social foundation. Then you find the average of those soulmate factors to measure the personal connection. You multiply those 2 results together to get your core compatibility. And then, for the grand finale, you add the lunar blessing, which seals the deal with a little touch of the divine. Okay, so the theory is one thing, but the real power of this equation is seeing it in action. Let's run the numbers on a classic scenario, a high-stakes love triangle. We've got 2 very different suitors, both vying for the same match. All right, meet our 2 contenders. On one side, we have Suitor 1. He brings this intense, undeniable passion, a huge flame synergy score of 0.9, but he's lacking in that deep emotional connection. On the other side, you have Suitor 2. He's the opposite. His passion is more, well, moderate, but his emotional reciprocity score is off the charts. Now, if all the other variables are the same, who does the formula say is the better match? And the winner with a final score of 1.2 is Suitor 2. Isn't that interesting? Even though he had less of that raw, fiery passion, that incredibly strong emotional bond gave him the clear advantage. The math, as they say, doesn't lie. So what's the takeaway here? The whole system is basically designed to value something much deeper than just a fleeting spark. The formula makes it crystal clear that a stable, emotionally honest relationship is considered more fated than a fiery, passionate fling. This culture's entire value system is literally coded into its mathematics. So a score of 1.2 is great news for Suitor 2, but what does a number like that actually mean for the people involved? The real-world consequences of these calculations are huge. For the individuals whose lives hang in the balance, the stakes really couldn't be any higher. This table lays it all out. A low score? That's a flat-out rejection, and it's socially enforced. A score in the middle range suggests caution. Perhaps a festival dance first. But once you cross that point 0.8 threshold, you've hit sacred alignment, and the wedding planners get called in. And anything over 1.2, that's a twin thread connection, a match that is believed to be truly cosmically destined. So you can see here, there are really only 4 possible outcomes. Every single time that scroll is used, a couple gets placed permanently into one of these categories. There's no gray area. It's a system that values clarity above all else. A society built on the idea that your romantic fate can and should be laid out with a certainty of numbers. Let's just step back for a second and think about the big picture. What's the philosophy driving all of this? Why would a culture go to such incredible lengths to turn the beautiful, messy art of courtship into a mathematical proof? And this one quote just sums it up perfectly. For the Arreqqana, this isn't about taking the romance out of love, it's about revealing it. They believe that true love already has a hidden structure, a kind of beautiful, sacred geometry. The formula doesn't create your destiny, it just helps you see the intricate pattern that was there all along.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating question, doesn't it? We might look at this whole thing as some mystical, ancient tradition that's totally removed from our lives. But think about it. In our world, don't we feed our personal data, our likes, our dislikes, our pictures, into complex algorithms that promise to find our perfect match using compatibility scores? Is a sacred formula blessed by the moons really all that different from a digital one blessed by code? It's definitely something to think about.